This part of the test is approximately 30 minutes long and contains 7 different question types. The questions are based on audio or video clips, which begin to play automatically. You hear each audio or video clip once. You are allowed to take notes. There are 7 question types in listening. 1. Summarize spoken text. 2. Multiple choice, multiple answers. 3. Fill in the blanks. 4. Multiple choice, single answer. 5. Select missing word. 6. Highlight incorrect words. 7. Write from dictation. In Task 1, summarize spoken text, you need to listen to a recording and then write a 20 to 30 word summary. The prompt length is 45 to 75 seconds. The skills assessed are listening and writing, and you have 8 minutes to answer. For this question type, you will hear an audio recording and need to write a 20 to 30 word summary of what you heard. The audio recording will play automatically, and you can only listen to it once. The word count at the bottom of the screen counts the number of words you write. Make sure to write a minimum of 20 words, but no more than 30 words. There are also cut, copy, and paste buttons, which you may choose to use while constructing your summary. Test tips. Firstly, use your erasable whiteboard to take notes. While you listen to the recording, make sure you note down the supporting points as well as the main idea on your erasable whiteboard. From your notes, you can then summarize the main point and refer briefly to the essential supporting points. This will help you score good marks for content. Secondly, remember to check grammar, spelling, and punctuation. In your 20 to 30 word summary, you'll be scored on grammar, spelling, and vocabulary. So leave yourself 1 or 2 minutes after you have written your summary to check your sentences for things like subject/verb agreement, tenses, and word order. Use grammatical structures that you are confident with and words that you are sure you have spelled correctly. Finally, check your punctuation. Check full stops and commas, and make sure you have begun each sentence with a capital letter.
How this question is scored. Your response is judged on your ability to understand, analyze, and combine information from a lecture, and then summarize the key points in writing. You are also assessed on the quality of your writing and on how well your response presents the key points in the lecture. Your score is based on 5 factors. Content. Does your response summarize the main points in the lecture? Content is scored by assessing if you have addressed all the key points of the lecture without misrepresenting the purpose or topic. If your summary misinterprets the topic or the purpose of the lecture, you will not receive any score points for your summary on any of the 5 factors. The best responses clearly summarize the main points and condense the essential supporting points. They focus on the topic and include only key information and the essential supporting points. Form. Does your response meet the length requirement of between 20 and 30 words? Form is scored by counting the number of words in your response. You will receive full credit if your response is between 20 and 30 words. Writing fewer than 20 words or more than 30 words will decrease your score. If your summary contains fewer than 5 words or more than 40 words, you will not receive any score points for your summary on any of the 5 factors. Grammar. Does your response show you can use grammar correctly? Grammar is scored by assessing if the basic structure of your sentences is correct. The best responses use concise sentences that clearly communicate your intended meaning. Vocabulary. Does your response show you can choose and use words correctly? Your vocabulary is scored according to its relevance to the lecture and its appropriateness in an academic environment. The appropriate use of synonyms is also scored. The best responses use words from the lecture appropriately, demonstrate an understanding of the context, and use synonyms effectively to show variety in language use. Spelling. Does your response show you can use a single spelling convention correctly and consistently? PTE recognizes English spelling conventions from the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, and Canada. However, you should use one spelling convention consistently in each response you give. Please note, partial credit scoring applies. No credit is given for no response or an irrelevant response. This question type affects the scoring of the following: listening, writing, grammar, spelling, and vocabulary. Your speaking skills are not tested by this question type, and your reading skills are only used to read the instructions. In Task 2, multiple choice, multiple answers, you need to listen to a recording and answer a multiple choice question on the content or tone of the recording. You can select more than one response. The prompt length is 50 to 90 seconds. The skills assessed are listening, and there is no specific time to answer. For this question type, you need to listen to the recording and answer the multiple choice question. There is more than one correct response. The audio recording will play automatically, and you can only listen to it once. You need to select all of the correct options from the list. Click on an option to select it. You can deselect it by clicking on it again. Test tips. Firstly, take notes of the main points and supporting details. In the 7 seconds before the recording begins, read the question and get ready to take notes to help you answer. Taking notes is likely to be more helpful than trying to select options while you listen, because you may not hear the information in exactly the same order as the options. Note down details, e.g., times, places, things that happened, as well as the main points, because you will need to select more than one option. Secondly, select for meaning, not just to match the words you hear. Select the options that best match the meaning of what you heard. Don't just choose an option because it has the same words or phrases as the recording. Several options may use words from the recording, but may not match the meaning. Finally, make sure you know how the task is scored. Read the instructions carefully and remember that more than one response option is correct. You will score points for any correct options, but you will lose points for any incorrect options. These include options that you have clicked on as correct, but which are wrong. If you click on all the options because you do not know the answer, you will lose score points. How this question is scored. Your response is judged on your ability to analyze, interpret, and evaluate a brief audio or video recording on an academic subject. If all your response options are correct, you will receive the maximum score points. If one or more of your response options are incorrect, partial credit scoring applies. Please note, this question type affects the scoring of only listening. Your speaking and writing skills are not tested by this question type, and your reading skills are only used to read the instructions, prompt, and response options.
In this task, you will see a transcript of a recording with several gaps. Listen to the recording and type the missing word in each gap. The prompt length is 30-60 seconds, and the skills assessed are listening. There is no applicable time to answer. For this question type, you need to complete a transcript of an audio recording by typing in the missing words. The audio recording will play automatically, and you can only listen to it once. Click on each gap and type in the missing word. You can also use the tab button on your keyboard to move to the next gap. While the audio is playing, you can take notes on the erasable whiteboard. Test tips. Firstly, skim the text before the recording begins. In the 7 seconds before the recording begins, you only have time to skim the text. As you do this, ignore the gaps and try to get an overall idea of what the text is about. This will help you recognize the words that fit the gaps as you hear them. Some of the things you can look for include proper nouns that begin with a capital letter, places, and organizations. Nouns that are repeated in the text may help you decide on the topic. Secondly, as you listen, write the words you hear for the blanks on your erasable whiteboard. The recording is at normal speed, and you will only hear it once. When you are listening, you do not have time to think about how to spell the missing words. Use your erasable whiteboard to write down what you think you hear. After the recording has finished, you can read through the text and use your notes to decide on the words that are missing and how they are spelled. Then type them into the gaps. Remember, the next question will not start until you click Next at the bottom of the screen, so you have a little time to think about your answers. How this question is scored. Your response is judged on your ability to listen for missing words in a recording and type the missing words into a transcription. Your score is based on the following factor: content. Does your answer include all the missing words? Content is scored by counting the number of correct words with correct spelling in your answer. Each correct word spelled correctly scores 1 point. If you fill all the blanks with the correct word spelled correctly, you will receive the maximum score points. If one or more blanks are filled incorrectly, partial credit scoring applies. Please note that this question type affects the scoring of listening and writing. Your speaking skills are not tested by this question type, and your reading skills are only used to read the instructions and the transcription. Task 4. For this question type, you need to listen to the recording and answer the multiple choice question. The audio recording will play automatically, and you can only listen to it once. There are several possible response options, but only one is correct. Click on an option to select it. You can change your mind by clicking on it again or by clicking on a different option. Test tips. Focus on the kind of information you need. For these questions, the main part of the question tells you what to listen for. Try to understand the focus of the question to help guide your listening. For example, it will tell you whether you are listening for the main idea, supporting information, an inference drawn by the speaker, or the speaker's purpose. Secondly, skim the question and answer options before you listen to understand the topic. How this question is scored. Your response is judged on your ability to analyze, interpret, and evaluate a short audio recording on an everyday subject. Your response is scored as either correct or incorrect. No credit is given for no response or an incorrect response. Please note that this question type affects the scoring of only listening. Your speaking and writing skills are not tested with this question type, and your reading skills are only used to read the instructions, prompt, and response options. In this task, you will listen to a recording, then select the missing word that completes the recording from a list of options. For this question type, you need to select the most appropriate word or group of words to complete an audio recording. The audio recording will play automatically. You can only listen to it once. There are several possible response options, but only one is correct. Click on an option to select it. You can change your mind by clicking on it again or by clicking on a different option. Test tips. Know what to do if you change your mind about the answer. For each item in this task, there are 3 to 5 response options, but only one is correct. At the end of the recording, click on the option you think is correct. The next recording does not begin playing until you click Next. So you have a little time to think about your answer. If you want to change your answer, click on it again to deselect it. Then click on the option you think is correct. Your response is judged on your ability to predict what a speaker will say, based on contextual clues in a recording. Your response is scored as either correct or incorrect. No credit is given for no response or an incorrect response. Please note, this question type affects the scoring of only listening. Your speaking and writing skills are not tested by this question type, and your reading skills are only used to read the instructions and the response options. In this task, you will see a transcript of a recording. While listening to the recording, click on the words that are different from what is said. For this question type, you will listen to an audio recording and select words in the transcript that are different. The audio recording will play automatically. You can only listen to it once. Click on a word to select it. You can click on it again to deselect it. Test tips. Quickly read the transcription before you listen to focus on key words. In the 10 seconds before the recording begins, you don't have time to read every word, but you can skim the transcription. Focus on the words that give you information, e.g., nouns, adjectives, and verbs. Decide what the general topic is. This will help you pick out words that do not fit this topic area as you read and listen. Follow the text with the cursor as you listen. The best approach is to select the wrong words as the text is read. Don't try to make notes as you listen. Move the cursor along the screen as the words are spoken and click on any words that sound different. Your response is judged on your ability to listen for and point out the differences between a recording and a transcription. Each word you select is scored as either correct or incorrect. If all your selected words are correct, you will receive the maximum score points. If one or more of your selected words are incorrect, partial credit scoring applies. Each correct response option is given 1 point, but 1 point is deducted for each wrong option, so make sure you are confident in your choices. Please note, this question type affects the scoring of listening and reading. Your speaking and writing skills are not tested by this question type. In this task, you will listen to a recording of a sentence, and then you need to type the sentence. The audio recording will play automatically. You can only listen to it once. While the audio is playing, you can take notes on your erasable whiteboard. Remember to check your spelling. For this question type, you need to listen to a sentence and then type it into the response box at the bottom of the screen. Type as many correct words as you can remember into the response box in the correct order. You will score points for every correct word that you write in the response box. If you can remember a word, but you are not sure where it goes in the sentence, use your knowledge of English grammar to help you decide. Your score is based on the following factor: content. Does your response include all the words in the sentence and only these words? Content is scored by counting the number of correct words in your answer. If all the words are correct and spelled correctly, you will receive the maximum score points. If one or more words are incorrect, partial credit scoring applies. Please note, this question type affects the scoring of listening and writing. Your speaking skills are not tested by this question type, and your reading skills are only used to read the instructions.